Hello, so today we're going to be learning how to do a full face shave. This is my lovely client Jesse, and he is already pre-trimmed. Normally we like to trim the whole entire face before we do a shave because you don't want it to like catch on it or pull. So he's already done that for me, thankfully. And so we're going to prep the skin first. And I like to use pretty much any type of oil will work as long as it's going to be moisturizing. So I just give this a good little run through, kind of, manipulate the skin a little bit to open up the pores and get the hair follicles nice and moist for easy sliding of the blade. We always use 2 hot towels. I always like to say the wetter the better because it gets nice and hot. And we drape it over here. I did this sort of technique. Drape it up to the lip, and I put a finger here and a finger here to cover the face. And then that second hot towel is going to be for this neck, the lower neck area. And I just do the same fold. And go a little bit lower. In the same crisscross action. All right, we're going to let him soak for just a moment. And this is normally where I prep my blades. I've already got one in my razor. And it's always important to have a couple of razors with you, especially the ones that we use here at Scouts. They are disposable. So they're only made for 3 or 4 different swipes on it, and then you have to replace it. So definitely have those ready. I also have aftershave balm and nick relief here, just in case I make a mistake. And also a foil shaver is really nice to have as well. To get those little areas that are more difficult, you'd rather keep the skin healthy instead of nick it or any of that. So situations like butt chins or folds in the skin, you'd rather not take a razor to it. That's really great to have on hand. All right. Feeling relaxed?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now I'm just going to use the shaving cream. Okay, it's not very hot. And I'm just going to rub this into the skin. It's good to get a nice lather in there. You can also use a boar bristle shaving brush. That also helps as well. All right. I always have an extra towel here to wipe off excess. All right. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to start with the neck, and I'm going to turn his head. You can always manipulate the client's head. Tension is always important when it comes to shaving. So I'm pulling the skin down. I'm moving it away from his Adam's apple. And since he is so pre-shaved, I feel comfortable going against the grain on him. Again, pull this away from the Adam's apple. You don't just want to go to the Adam's apple and shave it. Same with the other side. He's actually pretty smooth there, so I'm just going to do a quick over. All right. You can really start anywhere on the face that you feel more comfortable with. I always like to go neck first, but you can start with the cheeks if you'd like that as well. With the cheeks, always, make sure they're pushed away and make sure the skin is very tight. And just go on down. Also, a good trick is to do little swipes instead of big swipes, just in case they have like moles that you're unaware of. You don't want to chop something off. And I always go with the grain on the cheeks. And then whenever we get to the jawline area, again, you want to move the skin off of the bone so you're not just shaving on somebody's skin. So I pull it up, kind of go at an angle here to make a flat surface. Still feeling comfortable?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And then if I still feel like there's some left over, I'm going to pull this down. All right, and then we're going to go against the grain on the cheek. And I'm using my fingers to feel if there's any leftover hair that I need to grab or get, or any rough spots. Feeling good so far. You can even hear it whenever I go over his chin here. All right, the chin. All right, make sure it's really, really tight. And just go down. Feeling your way through. Face me a little bit. Pull it tight and down. And then I go up just a smidge. Just be very, very careful. You are dealing with a straight razor. All right, I'm pulling him over here because we're going to do this cheek now. Pull it tight and down. Tight and down. Be sure to avoid that jawline. And now we're going against the grain on the cheek. Make sure it's nice and tight. He's got such good skin, it's hard to have an example. All right, and again with the jawline, you want to move it away from the jaw so that you have a better surface. So I just pull it up ever so slightly. And I'm going to take it at an angle to grab this guy. Going at different angles in certain sections always helps to get all of the little hairs because, you know, hair does not grow in just one direction, unfortunately. All right, the chin. This is where I'm going to change my blade because we want it to be nice and sharp for this area. And if you feel it necessary, you can always add a little bit more oil to this area as well. All right, just gonna hold this here and do little swipes. You can even hear that. Pull that skin tight. All right, now I'm going to go up just a smidge against the grain. All right, I'm going to move on from there just to keep the integrity of the skin. Don't want to overwork an area. The mustache. All right, this is more of a tricky area. It's just because you kind of have to be all up in their space, you know. I'll grab this little chin guy first. All right, I usually come at this as an angle. So, let's see, you can dry this off real quick. Again, make sure that skin is tight and do little swipes all the way down. Watching the corners of your blade because you don't want to cut him. Go like this. Cool. You can ask them to make a turtle mouth, I guess is what you can call it. And that makes the lip a little bit more taut. You can relax if you need to. Make sure to give them little breaks. A little bit of oil here just to make it a little slick. Does that smell good? Mm-hmm. All right, now I'm just going around feeling if there's any spots that I missed. All right, that feels good. So I'm going to move on to the cold towel. This is an optional step, but I highly recommend it because it's going to close their pores. It just is a little shocking, so I like to warn them.
Okay.
And this I kind of like pat on a little bit, so it's not too wild of a feeling for them. This also helps to get all of the excess product off. Still doing okay? Good. This is a great time to clean up your station while they are literally chilling. Had to, sorry. All right, and the last step is an aftershave. And it's great to do this right after the cold towel because your fingers are still cold. And this is so important because aftershave has antibacterial properties. So it's going to keep the skin from getting irritated, prevent ingrown hairs, and it's a good way to finish out the service. And I just rub this in. All right, and any excess product, I just roll off. And there you are. And that is a full face shave.